Good morning, everybody. On behalf of California State Parks, I want to welcome you here to Hearst Castle in San Simeon, California, one of your 200 California state parks. My name is Laura, and I'm a tour guide here at Hearst Castle. I want to put out a special welcome this morning to our virtual junior rangers with our Castle to Coast series. It's Thursday, so you know what that means. It's Parks PE. We're spending about 20 minutes up here at the castle, and then we'll go down to the coast with my friend Robin. She's a special park interpreter, and you'll be doing about 20 minutes of exercises with her after we do about 20 minutes of exercises up here. Now we'll be doing about 7 to 10 exercises up here at the castle with about 5 to 15 repetitions per exercise. So keep that in mind. As you can see, I've got my water bottle here because your safety is our #1 priority. And speaking of safety, you'll notice I've got my face mask on. We are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. We want to make sure that all of you are safe while we exercise today. So you want to go ahead and maintain that mask if you're indoors or you're too close in terms of physical distancing. If you are outdoors though, and you are maintaining 6 or more feet of physical distancing, according to California state policy, if you're recreating or exercising, you can take your mask off so long as you maintain that 6 or more feet of social distancing. So because Hearst Castle right now is closed to the public, and my cameraman, he's a good 6 feet away from me, so he's safe. I'm gonna go ahead and remove my mask because we're gonna exercise outside today. Now, you wanna make sure to keep that mask handy because when you're done with your exercises today, with myself and with Robin, you wanna put those back on. So go ahead and grab that water bottle. You'll also notice that I've got a mat that I've laid down here on this steel reinforced concrete that Julia Morgan, the architect of Mr. William Randolph Hearst, would use to make structures up here nice and earthquake and fire resistant, but it's also hard on the knees. A lot of our exercises today are gonna be on the ground. They're swimming oriented. We wanna continue with the swimming theme that we started last week. Now that being said, you'll notice behind me, probably the most iconic outdoor architectural structure, that Neptune pool. And you're looking at, behind me there, those columns, what's called the Western Colonnade. You might even be able to see the marine layers that's coming up. We've got bright, beautiful sunshine up here, 1,600 feet above sea level for those exercises today. Now you'll also notice to the right that there is not only what looks like 20th century fragments, but also elements from ancient Roman civilization, what's called the temple facade. Now we talked a little bit about that temple facade last week. Mr. Hearst, being a very famous, wealthy Californian, a newspaper man, a multimedia man, he decided to go ahead and collect art throughout his life. He had all this wealth, and he decided to build up here in San Simeon because his parents would take him camping in the 1860s and 70s when he was a child. So the childhood dream that he wanted to come true, he made true. Between the years 1919 and 1947, he and Julia Morgan, that architect I talked about, would go ahead and create this beautiful architectural structure that you see here. The Neptune pool, of course, the castle, and 3 little guest cottages that surround that castle. But we're gonna spend our time here at the Neptune pool. And you're gonna notice that pool, blue as it is, it holds about 345,000 gallons of water. And if you were lucky enough to be invited as a guest here at Hearst Castle, you would have gone ahead and swum in that pool. If you wanted to, you could swim laps from the deep end here that's closest to me, about 10.5 feet or 3 meters in depth, all the way to the end, which happens to be about 3.5 feet or 1 meter in depth. 104 feet is 1 lap. And if you were Gertrude Ederle or Johnny Weissmuller, Olympic champions from the 1924 and 28 Olympics, and guests of Mr. Hearst, perhaps you would have swum laps back and forth in that. Now, Gertrude Ederle went on to become a very world famous swimmer like Johnny Weissmuller, not so much for Olympic medals that she won in the 1924 Olympics, but because she was the first woman to cross the English Channel in 1926. And she used a stroke known as the freestyle. The freestyle is what we call the American crawl, the Australian crawl, where you crawl with your arms in front of you. Now, that being said, she would use that stroke to break the world's record by by almost 2 hours. Only 5 other individuals, all men, had gone ahead and done that feat before her, but they used the breaststroke. So she used that signature freestyle stroke, which, by the way, garnered her 3 Olympic medals in the 1924 Olympics, to go ahead and become that world champion. Johnny Weissmuller, he won 5 Olympic gold medals, and he would also use the freestyle to win those Olympic medals. Now, being the swimmers that they were, they probably warmed up, and that's what we're going to do first. We're going to have, as I said, a definite swimming theme here today, but like all good swimmers, like Johnny Weissmuller and Gertrude Ederle, we want to warm up. By the way, before we start the warm up, I want to go ahead and mention, put a plug out for Gertrude Ederle. Next Tuesday, August 4th, from 10 a.m. until 10:20, you're going to be listening to one of our tour guides up here, Laurel, talk about Gertrude Ederle. She's going to be reading a story to all of you. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and enjoy that Neptune pool. Now, you folks are going to want to go ahead and maintain a stance about shoulder to hip width stance, all right? And what I'm going to want you to do is think of yourselves as a nice stiff pole, like a tetherball pole, all right? Now I'm going to turn my profile to you so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm tightening my tummy nice and tight and my rear end nice and tight. But what I'm going to do is with my arms at the side like this, and I want you to think of those arms as holding a tetherball at the end. And if you know anything about tetherball, you know that you swing the tetherball like this after hitting it. Now, you'll notice that my hips are not moving. I'm just moving from my torso on up, okay? Now, for some of us, this might be a bit too much of an effort. So if you want to, just go ahead and hold the arms like this at the side, or you can just put your arm at the side and hold your body nice and straight, just like so. If you wanted to, just a little bit of a rotation, keeping those hips square, okay? Now, for those of you that want a little bit more of a challenge, putting those arms out, bring the shoulders up and back, thumbs towards the sky. You'll go ahead and rotate, again, without rotating those hips, all the way to one side and then back. You're going to feel a nice stretch all the way through the back muscles, the shoulder muscles, the triceps and the biceps, all swimming muscles. And we want to go ahead and do about 10 more of these, okay? Exhale, inhale when you come to the middle, exhale as you go to the side. You want more of a challenge? Go a little bit faster. That way you get your heart rate up. Back and forth, okay? And you want even more of an effort, those of you that want to challenge, widen the stance and reach over and reach over. Let's try 5 more, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. All right, a little blood flow there, heart rate's up a little bit, and you got that respiration rate up. All right, another swimming oriented exercise, still warming up here. We want to work those shoulders, those triceps, those biceps in the back. Again, maintaining a shoulder width stance. You're going to bring your shoulders up and back, tightening that tummy, tightening that posterior. You'll bring your arms out like so, with the thumbs towards the sky, like a letter T. You don't want to be coming back too far like this or down too low. You're hugging the world. I want you to think about squeezing a pencil between your shoulder blades there, okay? So you're hugging the world, and then you're hugging yourself. Nice embrace, just like that, okay? Hug the world again. And then alternate the arms. So if that left arm was on top first, now it's the right arm. Back and forth. Now, for those of you that are having shoulder issues, bring your arms to the side, and you can just simply embrace yourself if you wish, or just hold your arms out like this with the palms facing out, or you can do a little shoulder roll, okay? But again, you're hugging yourself, then hugging the world. Hugging yourself, hugging the world. You want more challenge, go a little bit faster, remembering to alternate those arms, tummy tight, posterior tight. Let's try 5 more. 3, 1. Good. All right, shake it on out. Now, some of you might be having a little bit of a thirst, need, a deprivation of water. Go ahead and have a little drink if you want, like I'm going to do for myself. And let's get started with our first exercise. Heart rate's up, blood flow is good. We're going to come over here to the mat. Again, if you have a yoga mat, or if you have a rug or some sort of soft surface like grass, if you're outside, you can go ahead and kneel on this surface. So we're going to do what are called elephant seal poses into downward facing dog. Now, elephant seals, and Robin might be talking about this a little bit later, they happen to occupy the coast near what's called William Randolph Hearst State Beach, which is about 5 miles away from here, where you can see that marine layer. And they tend to hang out at William Randolph Hearst State Beach, or better yet, up the road near Piedras Blancas Lighthouse, about 5 miles away from that state beach. So we're going to imitate the elephant seal here with this next exercise. You're going to want to go ahead and stand, about shoulder to hip width stance. We're going to come into what we call a bird dipper or a hip hinge. You want to go ahead and squat on back, so you're sitting back there, making sure your knees are staying behind your toes. And then you go ahead and walk on out, just like so, into a plank position. Now, you want to bring the toes together. You'll bring your body all the way down on the ground, and you're going into your elephant seal pose. Sometimes we call this the cobra pose, but for our purposes today, we'll call it the elephant seal pose. Good stretch for the lower back. And then we'll come up and do a triangle, bringing the chin to the chest, and go into that nice downward facing dog. Let's try that 5 more times. So, elephant seal into the downward facing dog. As you continue with that, some of you might be having some trouble with this particular exercise, which works your lower back and your shoulders. Come on down onto all fours, making sure that you've got your hands shoulder width stance and you've got wrist, elbow, shoulders together. And we'll do just a little bit of what's called a quadruped. You're on all fours, we do quadruped. And we'll go into a little arching of the back and then extending the back. This might be a little bit easier for some of us, okay? So as we finish out those elephant seal poses into the downward facing dog, you folks that need a little bit less of a challenge, go ahead and continue with the arching and, of course, back extension. All right, we're going to go ahead and come on down, nice and easy, onto our bellies. Now, I mentioned Johnny Weissbuehler as well as Gertrude Ederle and the freestyle, the stroke that won them those Olympic medals, and of course, what allowed Gertrude Ederle to break the world record by 2 hours. And we're going to go ahead and do what's called the freestyle swim, a little dry land training. Yes, it'd be nice to get in that pool, but we're going to go ahead and do this on dry land. You want to go ahead and extend both arms out, extend both legs, pointing the toe. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, widen our shoulders there a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and bring the right arm up with the left leg up, pointing that toe, like we're doing the freestyle. Then you alternate, left arm up, right leg up. And you just go back and forth like you're swimming. Now, for those of us that are having maybe a little bit of an issue with this exercise, you're going to go ahead and want to just stay just like this, or if you want to, put your arms to the side if this hurts your shoulders, your head facing down, and you can just simply go up and down with the legs. Or if that hurts your back, go up and down with the arms only. Those of you that want a little bit more of a challenge, you can rotate and rotate, work the core a little bit more. All right, let's try 5 more of these. 2 and 1. Good. All right, we're gonna go ahead, just roll over on our backs, okay? Nice and easy, because we're gonna do what's called a flutter kick. Now, Johnny Weissbuehler, that Olympic swimmer, won those 5 gold medals. He helped to make very popular what's called the flutter scissors kick. And that's to help him be very fast as a freestyle swimmer. We're gonna do the same thing here. So you wanna go ahead, brace your belly so you're trying to make contact with the ground with your lower back. You'll flex your feet like so, palms on the ground. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna then point our toes as we bring the legs up, and we're gonna do a little flutter kick with a scissors kick. So flutter with both legs and then scissors kick, alternating. That's what's called the American crawl or American freestyle kick. Now, for those of us that have a little bit of issue with our lower back, just keep your legs on the ground, and you can do a nice stretch, arms up overhead, or you can just simply brace your belly. This is also a very good core workout if that hurts your shoulders, all right? Those of you that want more effort, you bring those legs up, you're gonna flutter and scissors kick, and keep the arms up overhead. Just make sure you've got good contact with the lower back on the ground. All right, flutter, flutter, scissors, flutter, flutter, scissors. Let's try 5 more of those. Flutter, scissors, flutter, flutter, scissors, flutter, flutter, scissors, flutter, flutter, scissors. 1 more time, and there it is. Oh boy, okay. So we put a lot of strain on that lower back, so we're gonna go ahead, like swimmers would do, is go ahead and work our core. Swimming is pretty much a core exercise, and relax that lower back. So you're gonna bring your legs up, actually your feet, towards your hips, okay? You wanna maintain about a shoulder width stance, the hips, the knees, and the ankles all in line.
you're going to go ahead and scoop your belly, just like so. And that might be enough for some of you, so you can just stay right there. But if you want a little hip extension to stretch out that lower back with those flutter kicks we just did, push your palms on the ground, and you're going to extend the hips towards the sky, just like so. Putting the weight in the heels, squeezing your posterior, and bringing it down, okay? Now, if this is too much for you, going up and down, you can just simply stay straight up, or again, staying down and bracing that belly. Let's try 10 more of those, bringing it up and bringing it down. Now, for those of you that want a little bit more challenge, you can go a little faster, just like so. And if you want to go more of a challenge, you just stay suspended and pulse with basically just little tiny hip extensions. Let's try 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. All right, bring it down slowly and easily. Now we'll extend one leg out. I'm extending my right leg out, keeping my left leg bent with my heel on the ground. We're bracing the belly again. We're gonna do the same thing, a hip extension, but only up through one leg. And that extended leg is gonna come up in the air just like that. Now for some of us, that might be a little bit too much to do. So you can just simply switch out those legs and march in place. And if you can't bring your hips up, that's fine. Just march in place. All right. So what I'm going to do is go back to my left foot, right leg out, and I'm going to come up for 5, what are called single leg hip extensions. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we'll swap it out. So the right leg comes down, extend the left leg out, same thing. For 5, up, and 2. And remember to exhale as you come up, 4, and number 5. All right, bring it on down nice and slowly. We're gonna roll back over onto our bellies. Again, simulating that freestyle stroke. So we're gonna go ahead and do what's called a little tap dance. We're gonna come up into what's called a plank pose, like so. And we're gonna tap our knee with our opposite hand. So my right hand to my left knee, come back down, and my left hand to my right knee. Some of us might have trouble with this exercise, so come on down onto all fours. You can do the same thing, what's called the quadruped. So you're just tapping, you're keeping your tummy tight and your rear end tight, and you're tapping, making sure that you keep your wrists, elbows, shoulders nice and aligned. Okay? You want more challenge? Again, go back to those toes, and you're going to tap that knee. It's okay if your rear end comes up a little bit, like a downward facing dog exercise that we did a little bit ago. That's fine. You want more challenge? Go to your ankle, all the way to your ankle. All right, let's try 5 more each side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna go ahead. Come on down, nice and easy. Now, Mr. Hurst may have had rowboats out here, and maybe took some of his guests out on the Pacific Ocean on what is today's William Randolph Hearst State Beach. They would have done some rowing. That's going to be the basis for our next exercise. Now, if you want to, I'm going to face the camera here. You can do this on 2 knees, or you can do this on 1 knee. If you're doing it on 1 knee like myself, you want to make sure your hips stay square and don't rotate. Now I've got my right knee up and my left knee down on the ground. Bring my hands up towards the right and then row down towards the left, okay? So if you're on 1 knee or 2 knees, we'll go to the right and bring it on down, okay? So we'll do that for 5. Here we go. And exhale down, inhale up. 2, and up, and 3, and up. Good stretch for those back muscles. 1 more. There it is. If you need to, go back to 2 knees. The next set, here we go. We're gonna come to the left and row down to the right. For 5, and 4, 3, and 2, and 1. All right, little exercise, little heart rate activity up there. We're gonna come on down and finish out with some cool downs, everybody. Once again, getting back on the ground on our belly. I want you to think of yourselves as Superman and Superwoman. You're gonna put those arms straight out, just like that, like you're the letter I. If you can't do that because your shoulders hurt, keep those hands at your side. But if you can, we're gonna pretend we're Superman, like the letter I. Now pretend you're the letter Y. Come out and imagine that you're the letter Y. Now the letter T. And then take your hands, palms facing the ceiling or the sky, and touch your rear end. Back to T, back to Y, back to I. Let's try that 3 more times. I, Y, T, rear end, T, Y, I. 2 more times. I, Y, T, rear end, T, Y, I. 1 more time. There we go. I, Y, T, touch the rear end. There it is, Y, I. Good, little heart rate, little back extension, little stretch. We'll bring it on up for a final exercise. If you need to, go into a little bit of a hip flexion there, and then come on back up. Standing on our feet, we started on our feet, we're gonna end on our feet. We're gonna go ahead, maintain a hip width stance, come down into a little hip hinge, a bird dipper. We're gonna drop one arm down like so, the other arm is behind us, and we're gonna do a little shoulder rehab. Drawing circles, 5 rotations one direction, and then 5 rotations on the opposite direction. 3, 4, and 5. Now, if this is too much at the hinge, you can do the arm circle standing too. So we'll go to the other side. Again, come into the hip hinge. 5 times, one direction. 4, 5, and 5 times in the opposite direction. 3, 4, 5. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. With Castle to Coast up here at the castle. We're going to go ahead and have you have some fun with Robin at the coast. See you next week.
Good morning, everyone. Robin here at the coast. I'm going to go ahead and give you a look of where I'm at right now. So you just finished up with Laura. That was awesome, Laura. Thanks so much. She's up the coast about 40 minutes. So she's up about 1,600, like she said. So you can see she was in the sun. But me right now, I'm down the coast and I'm in that marine layer. Like I said, we're here at Morro Bay State Park, and you can see Morro Rock peeking over in the distance. It's kind of enshrouded in fog right now. And we're gonna be doing some parks PE by the ocean right here. So this is beautiful Morro Bay, home to lots of different kinds of animals. And we're gonna be mimicking some of those animals today. Give you a little glimpse of where I'm at, and we'll go ahead and get started. So go ahead and grab some more water if you haven't drinking any water in a couple minutes. I've got my water right here, and I may be drinking it throughout the program. Some of the animals that you may see and some of the animals that we will be mimicking come from this shell. Does anybody know what this shell is? If you think it's a crab, you're right. This is a crab shell that I found here on the beach this morning. And that is one of the animals that we will be mimicking. So again, go ahead and take a sip of water. Take a little break if you need. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready. Again, my name is Robin. We're here at Morro Bay State Park, and we're gonna go do some movements mimicking ocean animals. Think about what your favorite ocean animal is. Do you have a favorite ocean animal? Or maybe what's the most recent ocean animal you've seen? We're gonna go ahead and stand with our feet about hips width apart. And we're gonna go ahead and just hinge from the hips and drop down like this. And this is where it gets really fun. We're gonna wiggle our arms like this. What animal do you think we are? It lives in the ocean. Turtles like to eat them. Sometimes they get confused as plastic bags. They kind of look like a plastic bag. And you definitely don't want to touch these animals because they might sting you. Do you have an idea? If You guessed it, jellyfish, you're right. Good job, Castle to Coast kids. Go ahead and bob here, wiggle the arms, drop the head, drop the shoulders, and stretch out that lower back. A lot of us have been sitting lately, doing our schoolwork, hanging out with family at home, and a lot of that requires sitting. So doing this, pretending to be a jellyfish, helps to stretch out the lower back. Good job. Couple more seconds, bobbing and weaving, wiggling those arms around, keeping a little bend in the knees here. Good job. Go ahead and slowly come up. Take your time. Don't move too fast. We're going to wind down with these exercises. So go ahead and find yourself standing. And now we're going to lift up one leg. So go ahead and bend your knee. I'm bending my right knee. Go ahead and bring your arms out either side. What animal do you think would stand on one leg? Do you have an idea? I'll give you a hint. They don't live in the ocean. We'll go ahead and drop that foot down, shake out those feet, and go ahead and lift up that other leg. So they don't live in the ocean and they can stand on one leg. What kind of animal do you think I am? It's a seabird. Good job. What kinds of seabirds are you familiar with? Here in Morro Bay, we have western gulls, which are commonly called seagulls. We have egrets, which are pretty white birds. We have herons. They're called great blue herons, and they even kind of look blue. And they'll stand on one leg in the shallow water looking for their food. They have these long, long beaks, and they'll stand on one leg, and they'll go and grab their food with their long, long beak, because they can see their food when they're hovering over the water. Good job. So now we're gonna go ahead and get on our knees, just like this. Go ahead and bring your hands behind your back, and go ahead and wiggle your toes. Wiggle your toes, maybe kick your feet, and open up your chest. So bring those shoulders back. This one's kind of a tough one. This is a seahorse. Go ahead and make some horsey sounds if you want. Seahorses obviously don't make these sounds, but it's just fun. Opening up the chest, lifting that head high. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Wiggling those toes, wiggling those feet. Imagine yourself swimming through the ocean. Good job. We'll go ahead and stand up now. If you have a space around you, make sure you have some space in front of you, because we're gonna go ahead and bend down into a dolphin position. So go ahead and bring your hands down and your knees down, and you're gonna bring your elbows and forearms to the floor. Bringing your elbows and forearms to the floor, go ahead and tuck your toes behind you and lift up those knees. Bring your tailbone all the way up to the sky. This is a dolphin pose. Maybe bending one knee, bending the next. Feeling the strength in your shoulders. Notice how strong you are. Easing down at the floor, right between your arms. Bending your knees helps to stretch out the calf muscle. Helps to stretch the back of your leg. Feels really good. Have any of you ever seen a dolphin before? Maybe you've seen them surfing in the waves. Couple more seconds. Bringing those knees down. Good job, dolphins. We're gonna go ahead and come down onto our butts. And now we're gonna be an animal that isn't commonly found and may not even be real, but it's fun to think they are. We're gonna bring our elbows down behind us, lifting our chest up just like we did with our seahorse. And go ahead and lift your feet up, just like this. Bringing your elbows down behind you, bringing your feet up, chest open, gazing up at the ceiling or the sky. Now go ahead and swim with those flippers. So right now we are mermaids. Mermaids basking on a rock, basking in the sun. Moving our fins, maybe bring your legs really close together, forming your mermaid fin or merman fin. Couple more seconds. Opening up the chest, easing upward. Good job. All right, now back to our animal that we saw its shell earlier. We're gonna go ahead and stand, bringing our feet pointed outward, our toes pointed outward, heels facing each other. And you're gonna go ahead and slowly come down, bending those knees, and bring those elbows inside of those knees, opening up the legs with those elbows. This is our crab position. You can lift up one heel, lift up the other. Opening up those legs with your elbows helps to stretch the inner thigh. And remember to bring those shoulders back. Open up that chest. Hold that head up high and stand like a proud crab. Nice proud crab, opening up, living your luxurious life on the shoreline and in tide pools. Maybe you can even have some claws here. Be as crabby as you want. Maybe opening up from one side to the next. Stretching it out, finding little movements, seeing what muscles you can feel. Staying in one position, but just wiggling a little bit. You can feel the different muscles working, helping to bring circulation into the body. A couple more seconds here, opening up that chest even more. Good job. Slowly bringing your hands to the floor, bringing yourself up and slowly standing up, making sure not to stand too quickly. We're gonna go ahead and bring our feet hips width apart again. And go ahead and bring your arms up to the sky. Fingers stretching up. Really stretch those fingers. Stretch them wide and reach those fingertips all the way up to the sky. Keeping those feet anchored into the ground. As you stretch upward, sway from one side to the next. very slowly. Sway from one side to the next. What do you think we are? We're in the ocean. We're flowing with the currents of the ocean. We provide homes for lots of different kinds of animals. And when there's a lot of us, we form a forest. A forest in the ocean? That's right. A forest in the ocean. What do you think we are? We're kelp. Good job, kelp or seaweed. When you have a lot of kelp, it forms a kelp forest. And just like a forest on land, how it provides lots of homes for different kinds of animals, a kelp forest in the ocean also provides homes for lots of different animals. So within our kelp, we have our strong root-like system that's called a holdfast. So our feet, those are our holdfast. Our body is the stipe or the stem. This is known as a stipe, and it's what flows up towards the surface of the water. And then we have some hands here that will form the leaves or the blades of the kelp. These blades reach up to the sun looking for nutrients, looking for food. So that's why those kelp forests, they reach up towards the surface of the water because they're reaching towards the sun. Just like plants on land, how they'll reach for the sun, so does the kelp. Swaying in that current, how does that feel? Is there a big current? Or is there a little flow, a little current? Make your ocean as wild or calm as you'd like it. Stretching those arms up. Remember, keeping those fingers nice and wide and reaching them up towards the sun. Look for that food. Sun providing food for the kelp forest. Good job. Go ahead and bring those arms down. Shake it out. Take a moment here to maybe grab some water. And we'll go ahead and meet back on the floor. So go ahead and find your butts on the floor. We're gonna go ahead and come all the way down. As you come all the way down, I'll go ahead and move so you can see. You're gonna bring your hands up just like this, and you're gonna flutter your feet. Flutter your feet. What animal do you think we are? These animals, they keep their paws out of the water and they float on the water on their backs. Anybody know what we are? Here in Morro Bay, we have quite a few of them. We have about 40 that call Morro Bay home. If you guessed a sea otter, you're right. Sea otters float on their backs and they'll eat food off of their bellies, using their belly as a table or a plate. And they also need to groom themselves. So we'll go ahead and bring our paws, our little sea otter paws, and move them in circular motions all over our face, our shoulders, moving that fur around. Sea otters need to groom for 2 to 4 hours every single day in order to survive in this cold ocean environment. Good job, sea otters. We'll go ahead and do a little stretching before we end our day. Go ahead and bring your feet together. Bringing your knees on either side. You can bring your feet together out in front of you or closer to you. You're just hitting different muscles, that's all. And go ahead and bring your arms up wide like this. Wide fingers, wide stretch here. This is our sea star pose. Go ahead and rock from side to side. If you want, you can stay stationary on your rock in your tide pool if you want, or you can find some movement. Again, finding little movements helps you notice what different muscles you're using. Good job, Sea Stars. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me here at Morro Bay State Park. Thanks so much for joining Laura up at Hearst Castle for another rendition of Parks PE Castle to Coast Kids. Right now I am wearing a mask so I can stay safe and keep the other people around me safe, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you a quick little smile. And thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure to tune in next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 10 a.m. here on our YouTube page at San Luis Obispo Coast District for another great week of Castle to Coast Kids. Everyone, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and most importantly, stay kind. Have a good one, everyone.